We're the Gridiron Girls. You're in tune with the game.
Thanksgiving. Grudges with the family, grudges at the dinner table, grudges on the football field. Hello again, everybody. I'm Karleigh-Chelsea-Shauna.
I'm Chelsea Poe.
I'm Shauna Atkinson.
I'm Jaclyn Moore.
And we are the expanded Thanksgiving edition of the Gridiron Girls. Glad you could join us. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We are at the most festive time of year around these parts. And it isn't just the turkey, it's just the stuffing. It's also the big games. And we're going to take a look at all of that in this podcast this week. And again, want to send a special shout out to showrunner extraordinaire Jaclyn Moore, who's joining us for this show this week. Jaclyn, welcome to the Gridiron Girls. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here. Big fan of everybody involved here in their various capacities.
I'm very lucky because I've known Jaclyn now for a while, and I found out that we had a very funny similarity. About a year ago, a little over a year ago, I found out that I was like, oh, actually, we went to the same high school.
Oh my God.
Which is an odd thing, especially when you consider that we're two trans women who went to a purportedly all-boys Jesuit high school. And so the purportedly is important here in this context. And so I love that we were able to have this connection and share that similarity, and especially we were only 2 years apart, so we even coincided at we were there at the same time even, and
Did
so
you
it was
guys know each other?
We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't know each other.
Wow! Oh my God!
I think she was more football and I was debate team, and so
yes, I played football, and I think it was actually a mutual friend of ours. You made a joke in front of a mutual friend of ours, and was like, the only other person I know who makes that joke, you basically about being the only trans girl that went to our school, and he was like, "Actually, there's somebody else you should meet." And
I immediately
slid into my DMs.
Wow,
absolutely. And I was like, well, because I like to make the joke because part of the alma mater is it says we're Ignatius men forever. I'm like, well, we're not all Ignatius men forever. And so I was like, I love telling that joke if I am ever around any other group of people who went to St. Ignatius. And St. Ignatius is also Catholic football high school too. They've put multiple, Lou the Toe Groza, former Congressman Anthony Gonzalez, Coach
Brian Hoyer.
Backup
quarterback extraordinaire was.
Hoyer the Destroyer is absolutely the hometown.
Hoyer the Destroyer went to your high school.
He won a state championship on a free day because when we won a state championship, you get a day off of school, and that was a big deal. Everybody
so ridiculous.
Absolutely. No, what was ridiculous is when my debate team won the state championship, and our coach was like, no, actually, we should get a day off too. And sure enough, they gave us a rally in front of the whole school celebrating the debate team.
No, wait a minute.
Then we gave them a day off, and everybody loved the debate team.
Wow.
I didn't know that about you. I didn't know you were in debate.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Policy or LD?
It totally makes sense.
You were on the fast talkers in policy. I did LD.
Of course I was. I can absolutely talk really fast if I want to. I can go and it's called spreading, which is really funny when you think about it in a future context. Anyways.
This has a lot of Wednesday night before Thanksgiving bar vibes, we're in Cleveland or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes,
I'm getting those vibes a lot.
Oh, it totally does.
Well, no, see, that's what gets me. This is wild. I'm with two other people that went to Jesuit high schools, because I did too. And I've ran into somebody who knows what a double ruby is. This is good. This gets but I want to give you the big question on my mind. Did you ever go to Catholic Nationals? Did you ever go to Catnats?
So I actually visited.
What is that?
It was like a big debate tournament. It was like a big special debate tournament. And so I didn't attend for myself, but because my school didn't go for some reason, but my now spouse's team, who I was dating back in high school, long distance, who's from New York, they were Catholic Nationals was at the University of Pittsburgh. So I surprised them and I drove and showed up to Catholic Nationals to root for them in high school.
Oh,
technically,
if you became a Pitt fan, you could go back and root for Kenny Pickett and really have the full.
I don't think anybody
Pitt experience
for Kenny Pickett anymore.
I know Kenny Pickett is.
I'm still rooting for Kenny Pickett.
Are you still a true believer in Kenny? And
if you didn't know, Karleigh is a very strong believer in Kenny Pickett. For the last 6 weeks.
Hey,
absolutely.
What based on what?
Based on the fact that Kenny Pickett had a solid rookie year. And I really think the biggest problem with the Steelers was Matt Canada.
You blame Canada.
Of course, blame Canada. I'm not saying that Kenny's perfect. Kenny is not the second coming of Terry Bradshaw. He's not even Bubby Brister yet. He's
not even Tommy Maddox.
No, he's better than Tommy.
He's never won an XFL championship. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what really matters.
He's also thrown for 2 touchdowns
here.
Times
XFL championship here.
You know what?
That's right.
Y'all need to quit. He's not Mark Malone.
It was the $1 million game. Tommy Maddox won the $1 million.
He won $1 million, split with all of his teammates.
Yeah, there's only 55, 56 guys on the team to split it.
Well, since we're getting into it, and we have 3 people that know the significance of the letters AMDG, I just want to, Jaclyn, we'll start with you. What's news to you this week?
What's news to me this week?
Yeah, what's news to you?
Oh my God. What's new to me this week? We're hosting a bunch of people at our house for Thanksgiving, and I've never done that. And so I've been running around LA trying to find things for Thanksgiving when I'm the kind of person where you can see over my shoulder my Halloween costumes are still hung up. So we're a month out of Halloween and I'm still haven't dealt with that. So the organization required.
Let's not ignore that.
Thank you so much. But I was a great chef. But the organization required to host 10 people for Thanksgiving is
10? Damn.
10 people. It didn't start that way. But you start to invite trans people to Thanksgiving and it's it turns out there are a lot of people that don't have places to go. I'm not going home, for instance. So it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. And who knows what's going to happen because I've gone to Target 12 times this week.
Chelsea, what's news to you?
I mean, being in the Michigan fandom right now, it's all encompassing. I don't feel like there's ever been this much anger and just animosity. There's never been this amount of heat before. And
yeah. Well, I guess because this is also because of all the scandal. It's so fun to not be the scandal side of a football story lately.
If you're fully in on the Michigan side, it is actually your scandal because y'all started the investigation and Ryan Day hired a private investigator.
Sure, yeah. It's just like it's the New York Jets' fault that Spygate happened. Yeah. That's how it works.
Y'all need to stop asking questions.
I just feel like. Well, I'll just say it like this. I still wonder who's the bigger scam artist, Anna Delvey or Jim Harbaugh.
So far, Jim Harbaugh, there's no proof that he knew anything. However, this whole so last week when we had the last pod, it was they're gonna appeal it, and then 2 hours later, they're we're gonna accept the penalty. So I don't know. It's very messy.
Typically.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, just accept the plea.
Jim Tressel went away for covering up some tattoos people got for free. So I have very little sympathy.
Was that Tedkin Jr.? Tedkin Jr. and the tattoos, I believe.
Oh my God.
Maurice Clarett, though. I always have deep love for Maurice Clarett. Played against in high school. I played offense, so we never crossed paths. But you know, that was cool for a little bit.
Was he the best player that like you played against in high school? Like in a like.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Probably. I'm sure there's somebody that I don't.
Well, because like, were you Hoyer's year? Like, weren't you? Because I know.
No, I was behind Hoyer.
Okay.
No, I was behind Hoyer and Gonzalez. So I was 2 years behind them.
What position did you play?
I played tight end, which jokes here. It's not so tight anymore. They've taken the position away from me, you know, all that stuff. But yeah, I played tight end.
Okay. Oh, right. So you play not. That's a position. That's one of the positions I play now playing football.
The most glamorous position now.
It is now.
Yeah, come on.
If you want to get the girl, you play tight end.
Yeah, you're tight end.
Exactly. You got to be an end. It used to be quarterback position. Now it's end. For me, what's news to me this week, in addition to this is going to be a wild football weekend, I'm going to do the turkey trot Thursday morning, and then I'm going to be parked in front of a TV for 2 or 3 days. But just before we got into this week, now the latest piece of anti-trans women in sports hysteria, and it hits cricket. International Cricket Committee on Monday announced, or rather on Tuesday, announced a ban on trans women competing, not due to anything scientific, anything medical, anything that of a competitive nature, but because people got spooked because of one player on Team Canada named Danielle McGahey. 29-year-old batter recruited to the Canadian team. She relocated from a native Australia. She met every criterion, every rule, played in a World Cup America's qualifier a month or 2 months ago. Everything is fine, but now, you know, the usual suspects, like a certain spoil sport swimmer and Karens against women's sports, they complained, and instead of the ICC actually doing their due diligence and realizing that all this noise and nonsense really was worth nothing, instead, they just made a knee-jerk reaction. When is it ever going to end? I don't know
that it will. I feel like there is going to be a moment where, because there's so few of us, it's really easy to scapegoat us. And I think that's going to change, especially as you get more and more like younger transitioners who are now like, it's going to be a lot harder to argue this like forever permanent advantage of bodies, as though like, you know, like which is just so ridiculous.
Live in hope, because
I
would like to think that, but every time it happens, what happens first? They put the number and say it was 10 animals, then 5, then it's 2. It's still high. That's still a bridge that 99.9% of us are going to cross easily.
Or it's like solutions in search of a problem. Like, trans women have been allowed in the Olympics for multiple Olympic cycles now, and yet, like, have any won a medal? I don't believe so.
Being in dodgeball, and which is obviously like, it's not like it has such a stereotypical aggression to it, but like it's such a like more, it like in practice it's more precision, and it's so much, there's so many different ways to be good at dodgeball, which is what I really like about it as a sport. And I think it's so like, you know, as I'm very okay. Like I do well for myself. Like I honestly think I played really well, like especially like when I was playing against like what I heard was like this really good Canadian team. Their name was Snatch, which is a great team name for a women's dodgeball team, but that's neither here nor there. And so it's great. You got to do it. It's the best part. But so I was like, but honestly, like I played really well, and I was like, and I'm like, I still was probably like, I don't even know what number person on the court, because I'm just someone playing a sport I love, and stories like mine are so much more common. Where thank goodness it's like, you know, not because like I'm not anybody, like, and so like that's like but there's so many people probably like me who are just existing, that I think really speaks to how not an issue it is, because like I just think it's so ridiculous.
I agree.
It's not a coincidence that they've leaned into this so much more post Roe v. Wade, because like Roe v. Wade's like the efficacy of that, the real thing behind that was to be a wedge issue to divide like people in southern states in the Midwest and in these places. And when you win that battle, when you're the dog who caught the car, suddenly you need a different wedge issue to scare people and to say, your vote's not really about like, do you think this person's better for you or this person's better for you? Here, let me paint what used to take like, oh, I'm going to take this medical procedure that is controlled in this way and has all these scientific understandings around it and paint it as like murder because that makes it easier for you to be scared of and vote against. The same exact thing is being done now with trans athletes because it sounds scary and like it sounds bad. And it's like you look into any of the details and there's no there. Like even, you know, it's not like Leah Thomas was like a shoo-in to dominate the Olympics. Like, should it have gotten there?
Leah Thomas didn't dominate the NCAA champ.
Exactly, that's my point. Yeah, so it's like I don't know. It just feels like it sounds very scary. It's like anybody who complains to me about it should have to. Anybody who complains about this Division III swimmer breaking records should have to tell me who held the record before, like without looking it up. Like I don't want to hear like my dad call me and be like, the women's swimming, and it's like, oh, were you really into like what was going on?
I'm a big Division III women's swimming fan. Thank you very much. And
no, but here's the thing: it was was the record at Ramapo College, New Jersey. That's like
that's hallowed ground.
I mean,
the swimming
women take next.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Is anything else sacred? If Ramapo College isn't sacred, what else?
Well, my mind harkens back to another native Ohioan who's been tarred with this brush because she dominated a game show.
Oh, I literally thought you were going to say Jim Harbaugh.
No.
I was like, yes, you're going to bring it up. He's wrongfully accused.
We got a lot of football to cover, including the NFL LGBTQIA League report. 2 of us can only play spoiler. 1 of us has playoff hope. There's more to come. I'm Karleigh. She's Chelsea. She's Shauna. And we welcome Jaclyn to the show. Well, that's the Gridiron Girls. It's going to roll on. Stay with us. And welcome back to the Gridiron Girls podcast. Karleigh Chardonnay Webb along with Chelsea Post, Shauna Atkinson, and our special guest, Jaclyn Moore, this week. And going to take a look, going to go right into the NFL GBTQIA Plus League Report. And Shauna and I had 2 battles this week.
We did.
Yeah, you might as well just do your little demure, cute little girl thing. Your little bratty little girl, because you won thing. Because you got the win in fantasy and you got the win in real life in the rivalry game.
I definitely did.
You got them both.
Oh, and you had me sweating there for a minute. I was like, oh man, I hope they don't kick a lot of field goals on Monday night. Because like I had a 14-point lead, which was pretty good. You know, and honestly, I'm on a 5-game win streak. I started my season 1-5, and I was like, oh. And these two were like, it was like giving me shit. And now I'm like, actually, I did draft a good team. They just started slow. And I'm on a 5-game win streak. And that's without Justin Jefferson, mind you. Because that was my first round pick. And so I'm feeling really good about a quart of throws and runses this year. And I don't know if I'll actually make the playoffs, but I'm playing one of my rivals Fat Thor, who I'm fairly certain is the guy who makes all of the terrible trades. And like he sends the most garbage trades. And so I started sending garbage back.
Doesn't he though? Because he sent me 3 different garbage trades.
No, apparently I was talking to my friend Cordy and she was like, yeah, apparently like he sends it to all of like the women in the league. He like just doesn't respect women and just sends bad football trade like fantasy.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. It's like weird. It's like that's the like, you know, maybe it's not correlation does not imply causation. However, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about my team. I've got a rough week. Mark Andrews is now out for the year, which sucks. But I've had a really good. I feel really like even if I don't win, I beat my girlfriend Kelly, and I went 1-1 against you two.
Well, Joe Burrow's gone for the year. That
he certainly is.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Burrow this year in general sunk me.
He did.
Drafted Joe Burrow with the idea, and then
Zach Charbonnet. I'd love to see him in the league.
He's at the top of all the like. You should pick him up, and I was like, "Oh, Karleigh already has him." Like
he was fun when he played for Michigan.
Right now, because that the traditional Thanksgiving game. It used to be the name we can't say anymore against the Cowboys. Now it's Commanders, Cowboys, Washington, Dallas. I'm starting Sam Howell.
Okay.
Sam Howell will get the start this week.
See, I'm tempted to start Goff against Green Bay for just that, like, rivalry, like, Thursday football kind of, like, I'm really hoping that, like they say it's not a great matchup, but I'm kind of hoping the spotlight kind of elevates them.
I don't know, because I'll tell you, I mean, see, that's one thing. I knew I was in trouble from the beginning when, on the Thursday night game, Joe Mixon had a huge game.
He did.
Jameer never go wrong with either of the Detroit running backs because they were killing it this year. And Jared Goff's just been steady. And on my side, the people, when your spear carrier back is outgained, when a backup, Zach Charbonnet, love him, but he's a backup. Austin Eckler was supposed to be the mail carrier this year, and that's the other thing. I've just had bad luck with 2 key pieces of my team just can never stay healthy. And you know it's bad when Adam Thielen is consistently your best player. Thielen's my best. CD Lamb was supposed to be my.
You need more than a Thielen.
Yes, you do. Yeah, I mean, but that's what. But anyway, we're just looking at it. But looking at it, you still have a.
I do. If I win this week, I'm right in the thick of it. I still think I have to win out, but honestly, I feel really good about even being in the conversation.
Who's your backup quarterback?
Let's take a look at it.
My backup is Kyler Murray.
Well,
damn.
Sweet.
Here's your standings through week 11.
I'm the first one eliminated. Damn, that hurts.
Yeah.
No, actually, concussion protocol, and I was.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
you three are all eliminated, unfortunately, but I'm still carrying the hope.
You're still, according to the probabilities, you have a 14% chance.
So
but to do it, you need some you need some wins.
I do, because honestly, my points are pretty good. Like I have a good amount of points this year, which I feel good about, and I'm on that 5-game win streak. It was really like the fact that I'm sitting here at 6-5 is absolutely unbelievable to me. I never thought I was like after the season started. I thought I was in such rough shape. I was like, okay, well, that's the problem. Like fantasy football is gambling at the end of the day, and I'm like, it's all like like you can try, you have some control, and like I'm really good at working the waiver wire, but like, and that's where I really did help my team. Like, oh yeah, I am always trying to upcycle my players. Like, absolutely.
Meanwhile, let's take a quick look at how. Since we were talking about
LOL.
So, yeah, I'm like the biggest Sasha Grey fangirl. So, so it's not actually my fault I lost. So I got onto a flight that was advertised as having Wi-Fi. And I got on the flight and it did not have Wi-Fi. So by the time I landed, after flying from Copenhagen, I could not change my team because the Cincinnati game just started. And as you know, I went to sleep directly after we did the podcast last time. So it's actually the Scandinavian Airlines fault and not mine. So I take no responsibility for this.
That's fair. That checks out. Would you rather they have lost your luggage or a football game?
I mean, I would probably be eliminated either way.
That's true.
As I famously said 3 weeks ago, I would have abandoned my team and started a new life in the desert and be like, fly ahead without me. I'll catch you up. But, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Taylor Swift wasn't there. He can't perform to the level he needed to. I was very close. If he would have thrown one more touchdown, I would have been fine. So it's fine. Well, I have no emotional connection to it anymore. I mean, I have Colorado's record right now, so I guess that's fine. We're really into Deion the first 3 episodes of this podcast.
We were. Remember Deion Sanders? Gosh,
that shit was so much fun, and now he's getting screamed at by people in Pullman, Washington, and stuff.
It really was somebody who was just like, "What if I did the Donald Trump PR playbook, but with college football, where it's just no, I'm going to be everywhere. I'm going to just say loud stuff. I'm going to criticize my players in viral speeches, and then I'm going to be flamboyant about all of it." And for 3 weeks, it's and that makes him a genius.
It was great until traditional power Oregon was we're not doing this for social media. It's you're Oregon.
We're not doing this.
You're Oregon. Shut up.
Yeah. Oregon's
here's my highlighter.
And now
Oregon with their 100 million kajillion uniform combination.
Never wear the same outfit ever. You kind of have to love that.
Fashion icon.
It's kind of a pop star behavior of how to operate a football team. Be why would we wear the same uniform ever?
Yeah, Shauna, looking at the NFL schedule real quick this week.
Well, can we talk about the Steelers game?
We almost forgot. We have to talk about.
We cannot forget about that.
Shauna and I had a doubleheader. We met in fantasy. I got beat, and our teams. She is a lifelong Browns fan. I have been a Steelers fan since
Same.
1976. I've been a Steelers my life watching football.
Well,
And
it sounds like you've had a lot of joy in your life, and
I don't know. I'll put it this way: my childhood was joyous. Adolescence sucked because the Steelers went in the tank in the '80s. I mean, come on.
That's true.
Remember,
You had all-around good guy quarterback Ben Roethlisberger.
no, our
great guy.
Our quarterbacks back then were Mark Malone and Walter Bubby Brister.
Okay, so I was driving.
That's like finding
That's
Republicans
crazy.
for Kucinich. How
Well,
does that work?
let me tell you, there were definitely a lot of Republicans there. So we're in a technical and so we're going around, and all of a sudden we see this. We're like looking at like local sports bars that might have it, and out on the sign there's like a big Steelers logo and a Cowboys logo because one room is Steelers and one room is Cowboys. And so we walk into this bar, me and my partner, and first thing we notice when we walk in is this very prominent sign about not bringing guns in. Now this isn't like a fire marshal, like guns are prohibited sign. This is a like. They personally had to make this sign to tell their clientele not to bring their guns in. Great start. So we walk in, and this room is a sea of black and gold. Just black and yellow everywhere. And I just immediately look at Alex and chuckle and go, I'm in danger.
Is there a Steeler bar in? Wait a minute. You're in Dallas, right?
Oh, yeah.
A Steeler bar. Wait a minute. A Steeler bar in Dallas, Texas.
Why?
Because they travel just as because everyone from the Midwest moves elsewhere because it is what it is.
That is true.
And so it was just like a room of black and gold. And so I'm like, all right. So I'm just like, every time the Browns did something good, I'd be like, oh no, and like drink my beverage.
That's worse.
I would say it very like, oh gosh, that sure was bad. And like, and we're like off to the side, and I'm just like, okay. And I was being a little. The game was going pretty well at a certain point, obviously, and it was very close. And I'm just like mostly just like taking like a little sip of my drink every time like the Browns did something good because I didn't want to like cheer loudly. And then the game ends on this field goal, and the one lone Browns fan in the middle of the crowd stands up. And she starts chanting, "Here we go, Brownies, here we go." And who am I to not go woof woof? That's clearly not that's clearly in my wheelhouse. So obviously I could not help myself. And I just had and I was like, oh, I started immediately chanting along with her. And then the guy is walking out, and he was like, well, something about the refs. I was like, something about your quarterback sucks. And my partner's just like, you're leaving. And he was like, all right, you're out of here.
Wow.
Do.
You had to kick Kenny Pickett when he was down.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's never been up. He's only thrown 2 touchdowns once.
I mean, he was famously up on that one time where he pretended to be down.
That's true. But really,
famously,
the awful throws of Kenny Pickett, though, he was so bad, aggressively bad, throwing to nobody. And the Browns' defense is obviously very good, but Matt Canada was very well deserving of getting fired. The fact that the Steelers bucked tradition and actually fired a coach mid-season says everything about how awful Matt Canada was, especially with the Steelers having such a good team. They just need Kenny Pickett to be passable. And, if there's any group...
You have to be so bad. You have to be so bad as a coach to get fired when your team is 6-4 and seemingly overachieving.
Absolutely.
That is a really oh, this is the problem.
Did you see the quote from their punter?
No.
So Bosworth was they showed Matt Canada was yeah, great, we did... Yeah, he was yeah, we did great. And, the fucking punter is you didn't do shit. And, openly disrespecting him. And I was like, damn. When the punter says you're fucking garbage, okay, here we are now. So, yeah, it was a good day to be a Cleveland Browns fan in a Steelers bar in the middle of Texas as a trans woman, and the exactly like the safety protocol. Like I was like, just and I was so good. I was angelic up until that last moment. But all it took was like one other Browns fan, and I was like, I have to do it. I have to be my loud self about this. I can't help it.
Being the villain in sports bars is so fun. When the United States played the Netherlands, I went to a gay bar and people were so mad. I was definitely standing up over shit. People were not having it.
No, right, you gotta own it. That's what sports is about. And I'm like, seeing a room full of morose Steelers fans was so cathartic. I'm sorry, Karleigh.
Oh, shut
It
up!
felt so good.
I do watch all the Ohio State reaction videos of the last 2 years of just the grown men crying, and I'm like, I'm a pro submissive. I don't get off on people being in pain, but
Full
it feels fucking. It feels nice. It feels nice.
They're delicious.
You don't get no. See, you have to understand something. I'm in pain right now. I'm in pain. All right, I'm in pain.
Why? You have Kenny Pickett. What is there to be in pain about?
Pickett. You have
He's your favorite.
This is what you did to me, Shauna. This is what that's what you did. That was a Turkey Jones move, Shauna.
That was
Exit question on this one, though, because the Bills have the Eagles this week. The Eagles have the best record. Do you think now they're the best team?
Yeah, probably.
The defense is really good. That offense is. I feel like Jalen Hurts doesn't look that good. His running has been great. The fact that he's the number one MVP candidate right now seems crazy because he had legitimately a bad game last week. But I don't know.
I think
they seem beatable.
Still, ran 2 touchdowns?
They're beatable, but here's the thing: everybody in the NFL right now is beatable. I'm hesitant to say the Eagles are necessarily the best because think about it. If that Chiefs receiver catches that ball, they probably win that game.
That Chiefs receiving core is so bad.
It is
bad too. Yeah, you have
that receiving core is so terrible.
It is very I think I understand letting go of Tyreek Hill, but then you can't miss on multiple second and third round picks when there's so many better options. Because every year, second and third round picks come in and produce at a high level. You see Nakua and I think he's a 5th round pick. But there's all sorts of great talent and players who are coming in. So I understand the strategy, but you got to hit on the pick. And it just sure seems like they didn't.
And also Tyreek, I think, has shown that he was significantly more important. I mean, obviously not. They're fine. They're still really good. But the season Tyreek's having in Miami is out of his mind great. So
let me put it this way. I'll bet Patrick Mahomes would trade Marquise Valdes-Scantling for Tyreek Hill right now.
But would you trade Travis Kelce for Tyreek Hill? Because that's the real
No,
because Taylor.
I mean, come on. That's
also Travis is still good. But
what is the least aesthetic team for Taylor Swift to have a boyfriend on? I think it's probably Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville.
Green Bay.
Carolina.
Green Bay.
No, but at least
I know. No, that's classic though. She totally fits into that.
This is that week. Great Thanksgiving dinner, the leftovers Friday and Saturday, and no shortage of games that matter, including the game. Gonna have that coming up next here at the Gridiron Girls. I'm Karleigh, she's Chelsea, she's Shauna, she's Jaclyn with the Gridiron Girls. Stay with us.
I love the intensity of the game. I love to compete. Very competitive. So once I started playing, it was love at first hit, love at first sack, love at first score. Football became addicting to me.
James is all alone in the backfield. James looking, dumped, and it's intercepted.
Intercepted by number 46.
That is Webb, and Webb is going to take that to the house. Touchdown, Reapers.
And welcome back to the Gridiron Girls. I'm Karleigh-Chelsea-Shauna Webb, along with Chelsea Poe, Shauna Atkinson, special guest Jaclyn Moore this week. And during the break, we were talking about possibilities for developments for new shows. Showrunners are always looking for new material and new talent. Jaclyn, you're surrounded with talent.
This is true.
You're surrounded with potential talent. I mean, there's a sitcom in this somewhere. I'm just saying.
I don't disagree.
Aaron's life is very sitcomical. Let's just.
Oh, I totally agree. The problem is getting any of these networks to buy anything with a trans person in the lead. That doesn't mean we're not trying. We certainly are. But
come on.
Ever since some people got mad at Dave Chappelle, for instance, and Netflix was like, actually, we don't really care about trans people being mad. Suddenly, everybody else looked around and was like, wait, you mean we can stop pretending like we care?
No.
Oh my God, this is great.
Be quiet with that. We want you to do more shows, dang it.
Oh, I mean, I'm still working. I'm just, you gotta accumulate power at times and then deploy it when you have it.
That's fair. And well, let's deploy the fun fact, though. Time for the college football fun fact. Chelsea, what you got this week?
Okay, so I have a really interesting one. So obviously we all know Michigan and Ohio State usually play Thanksgiving weekend. It's the last game of the year. So the question is, Michigan played another school before Ohio State. Ohio State actually replaced this opponent on their schedule. Can you name that other Big Ten school? It was
Penn State.
No. Do you want to take a guess?
Oh, we're talking old school Big Ten.
You know how I am. You know I love bringing up the 1800 shit.
University of Chicago.
You are correct. It is the University of Chicago.
Okay, I had a feeling.
The matchup was called the birth of Thanksgiving football.
No shit.
Yeah.
Tell this story. Tell it.
That's mostly the story. Yeah, those two played every single year at the end of the year. I believe Michigan has an actual losing record against the University of Chicago, so I guess playing Ohio State a little bit
What's the
easier.
record against Ohio State?
They have a winning record by I think like 30 games or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tell you that University of Chicago, the first 25, 30 years of college football, they were among the winningest programs in college football.
And they scream at porn with Warhol, so gotta love the Chicago Maroons.
Maroons are in Division 3 these days.
Bump them up. Bring them up.
University. I mean, just to note, the national championships in division in FCS playoffs have started. Division 2 playoffs have started. Division 3 playoffs have started.
Yes.
And I'm going to say right now, there's a team in the FCS I'm rooting for. Because, I'm rooting for the Fighting Zoe Zephyrs of the University of Montana. That's what I'm rooting for. Go Grizz. I'm going all in with the Grizz. I know South Dakota State Jackrabbits. I know how strong they are. North Dakota State's always looming, but Zoe, that's for you. I'm going with the Grizz.
I'm going for Division 2. I'm going Grand Valley State. I used to be a camp girl on their campus, so have to support it. They supported me.
One thing that's going to be a tight fit is the college football playoff, but the game itself, Ohio State, Michigan. I have a feeling this is going to be a low scoring and it's going to be a slugfest.
I think
it's going to be one of two ways. It's either Michigan's going to beat the shit out of them like they did the last 2 years, or Ohio State's going to win by a small margin. And honestly, if you're Ryan Day, you should be able to beat Michigan when they don't have a coach. Like, I feel like if they lose, he deserves to get fired. I feel like this is what
he's going to get fired if they lose. I think.
Do you think it'll be after the game? Do you think it will be in Ann Arbor still before they get on the bus and they're like, "You need to find your own way home"?
I feel like he knows already. Like I feel like he knows already that after the last 2 years and the fact that this team has been so promising this year, like if he goes up there as Michigan's in this weird period. I know, granted, that also has Michigan has that like us against the world thing going for them right now, which like you can't kind of underrate. But
yeah,
I feel like
you're all targeting us because y'all hate us.
No, I'll tell you, I'm taking Michigan to win this game. For one reason, Ohio State has a weapon that could stabilize the game. But I don't think their quarterback can get the ball to that weapon against Michigan's defense.
All you need to
That's
do...
That's Marvin Harrison Jr.
If I was the coach for Ohio State, all you would do is, okay, Marvin Harrison, throw him the ball every single fucking play.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's going to work.
Yeah,
he's a straight-up scary player. Yes,
he is.
One of the best on the field.
You can't get the ball to him if your quarterback's on his butt. And I think Michigan's going to put... They're going to put McCord on his butt enough. I say Michigan 15-14.
I think Sam Russell is going to be like the big breakout player of the game. I think
Ohio State's going to... I think it's vibes, but I think Ohio State's going to take it. I don't know. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is so good. I think if you can get him the ball, even if you like design... Look, we just watched, going back to the NFL, DTR for the Browns threw like 0 passes beyond 20 yards. And like, I just think you got to go quick. You have to do a lot of screens and passes in the flats, like Steve Smith, 2005, like screen passes, get him the ball and let him go to work a little bit.
Yeah.
I
think that's the only way.
It's downfield. So it is like, you're not using his best ability in some ways, but
now we'll
he's so athletic.
Ohio State. One thing about that Ohio State does have, though, is that run game. They have a good, solid running back by committee.
They really don't, though. They're the eighth. They're the eighth most has the eighth most rushing yards in the Big Ten. They're eighth. I don't think that's going to work against Michigan's defense. Like, I don't know. I just haven't seen anyone be able to really run at Michigan's defense.
Put it this way: when Ohio State is needed to run the football throughout this season, they do it. They do it. I mean, textbook Textbook example.
I don't know.
Notre Dame. Textbook examples of the Notre Dame game.
No, but
Put it on
I
the
feel like
ground.
we give Ohio State a lot of credit for winning by a single score. Like, I feel like we gave them that for beating Notre Dame on the last second play where Notre Dame, all their fans will tell you, we only had 10 players on the field. And then when they beat Penn State, they did it at home by 6 points, right?
Like I
Like,
said,
I just don't see it. 8 points. Okay.
It's going to be a tight game, and I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game like the last couple of years. There's not going to be a lot of points scored in this one. It's going to be hard, and it's going to be physical.
I will say Ohio State has
physical,
two better win. Ohio State's two quality wins, let's say, are better than Michigan's. Like Michigan has not had.
Yeah, but my thing is that doesn't matter.
No, but like I don't get. I see a lot of Ohio State fans say this, and it's like, how is you winning at home by 8 against Penn State better than Michigan winning on the road by 9? I just don't understand that.
That win, I would say that is about similar, but that's Michigan's quality win. Like Michigan doesn't have another. Like everybody else Michigan played is basically. Like Michigan doesn't have a Notre Dame.
I'm taking this off the bike.
I love having an Ohio State fan on.
Excuse me. I will not let you besmirch the name of UNLV. the Ohio State of the desert.
I can't believe that I forgot
the desert.
You're right.
The Notre Dame of Southern Nevada.
You're right. I did forget about the running Rebels, and that is on me. Are they not running anymore? Are they just the Rebels?
They're just the Rebels in football. Running Rebels in basketball.
Now they have they have the whole new dome, so they don't need to run anymore.
That's the thing. Both teams are really good. I think Ohio State's done it against slightly better competition this year. It'll be interesting to see.
Iron Bowl, Alabama, Auburn. If Alabama, remember, they've been sneaking up. They win this game.
They want my fandom.
I mean,
you just don't read as Alabama to me. Like going on, like truly vibe wise, like you being an Alabama fan is nonsense. For so many reasons. Like you feel like a Clevelander who supports Michigan, and I say that as a Clevelander who supports Ohio State. But and I say that with love. But
I can see the little bit of evil in you. I don't think Shauna has the evilness to be an Ohio State fan. I don't think you're about it.
See, but I have the evilness. But I'm enough of a brat that I will be a Michigan fan in Ohio.
That's what I mean. Is like
that is absolutely the quality.
Do you want to see them beat Georgia? Do you want to see them beat Georgia?
Absolutely, because
you're an Alabama fan. Can we now insert the clip of the Bama girl?
Yeah, okay.
This is a very good time for it.
Clip of these and so I love how much
wait a minute. So let me get this straight.
They perform gender far more than any trans woman ever could.
Yeah.
OTD for Alabama game day. Today we play LSU at home. My top is Bama. My bottoms are Roll Tide. My boots are Bama. Bama A earrings. I'm a Tom because I'm performing today. Now we have my bag carrier.
Hey gals, we got Pants Store, Carhartt, Ariat, LSU. Let's go.
Roll Tide.
This is all gender. Both of them are performing gender.
You have the Ken boyfriend. It's like literally everything.
It's so genderful. It's crazy. That's transier than anything on this Zoom.
Absolutely.
I truly love it. I
do too.
So much fun.
Great.
See, that's the part of me that I was like, ooh, I would love the high femme Alabama. I do look good in houndstooth. I will say that much.
Quickly going through the rest of the games though, because actually the most. You've got Florida State against Florida. Florida State should win that.
That's a toss-up now.
Yeah, now that the quarterback's in.
Yeah.
Well, that could be because that's it. But Florida State, according to the CFP right now, is on that outside looking in.
I was so intensely watching them against Northern Alabama. I was so hoping Northern Alabama was going to make that happen.
But if Florida State wins. They're gonna get in.
I mean, they could still lose to Louisville, though.
They still have an ACC.
Oh, that's true. They could move to Louisville. I forgot that.
And of course, that lead, and also that Georgia and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is bowl eligible for the first time in like about 6 years. But Georgia has all their weapons back.
Wait, were you trying to pitch Georgia Tech beating Georgia?
Well, Georgia Tech thinks it is a rivalry game. It's late in the year.
No.
Georgia's going to beat Georgia Tech by 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
They're gonna, but I believe Alabama's going to do the same thing to Auburn, and that's going to set up the SEC championship game. Like I've been saying for weeks, Alabama snuck their way back in this. But the most compelling games that are not Ohio State, Michigan, are going to be the Apple Cup and the Civil War.
Yeah, those two are going to be good. It's just the best week. It's the best week of the year. Like, you get all the rivalry games. You get, like, the traditional Thanksgiving Day games.
Now there's Friday football.
Because one thing,
Oh, yeah, totally.
I'm pumped.
Because one thing, Jerry Palm believes when it all shakes out, the college football analyst believes that when all shakes out, Oregon will be in the college football playoff.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll tell you what, Washington will beat Washington State. It will be closer than people expect.
Is it on the Palouse, or is it? No, it's in Seattle. Never mind.
Yes, but still, it'll be a closer game than expect, especially since Washington State is coming in after a rough patch in the middle of the season. Because when they beat Oregon State earlier in the year, they looked like a team that could be reckoned with. Then they had some issues defensively. They couldn't get together. They torched Colorado, but then again...
Oh my God. It was so bad. Did you see all the fans heckling Dion?
Yeah.
It was wild. I'm like, this was not what I was expecting this season.
But on the other side, now you got Oregon and Oregon State. And Oregon State is not a bad football... is a good football team to give Oregon an issue.
They almost beat Washington.
They did. And Oregon, but I really want to see a Pac-12 championship game. I want to see a rematch between Oregon and Washington.
Same,
because that was one of the great games of this year. That was a wonderful game between those two, and I want to see more of that. And I'll tell you, this college football playoff, I think, will be a competitive one. I believe it'll be competitive.
It's either going to be really clean and you're going to have the teams go undefeated. So you'll have the SEC champion, the Pac-12 champion, the Big Ten champion, and the ACC champion. Or this is going to get super messy and you're going to have literally 5 one-loss teams going for 1 or 2 spots.
When we come back to the Gridiron Girls podcast, last call. What does everybody have to say? But first, Kirby has to have her say. It's Kirby's Corner.
No wonder I can't find you to do the corner. You're taking my iPad again and you're watching Queer as Folk?
Yeah, I'm watching Queer as Folk. Jaclyn Moore's on the podcast. I've already been through Dear White People twice. Figure I'd check out Queer as Folk. You know, it's not a bad show, but it lacks diversity.
Woo! Lacks diversity?
Yeah, it has everything but cats. Hey, Jaclyn, where are the cats, huh? There's no cats on this show. Feline representation matters.
Kirby, can we just get to the picks, please?
Okay, first off, I know about the Lions. They were a real turkey on Turkey Day against the Packers and made Jordan Love look like Bart Starr. It was pretty bad, but the Lions are still up front in the NFC North. I still believe they're going to make the playoffs. Elsewhere, Steelers, Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals 16-13 because even without Joe Burrow, I'm pretty sure the Bengals can get a quarterback who's better than Kenny Pickett. Then again, there's a lot of people better than Kenny Pickett.
Watch it, Curb.
Oh, Karleigh, come on. You are the Ruthie to Kenny Pickett's Brody. And you're both a mess like Brody.
Really, Curb? Really?
Of course. How about those Panthers? They can't lose out the rest of the season. They're going to beat the Titans 23-19. And there's my other cool Cats, Jacksonville Jaguars. They won't let me down. They're going to run all over the Houston Texans. I say it's going to be 40-21. This game will not be close. All about Trevor Lawrence. And last week I told you, Bayou Classic, Southern 26, Grambling 24. And again, I'm going to have the GoFundMe link for our interim head coach at Southern, Sean Wallace. He's fighting cancer. Family could use the help, so hey, please, give all you can. Make a cat happy. And I'm going to make my cat mom happy.
Oh? How so?
Northwestern Illinois. Okay, Karleigh, I know I've been mean to you, but I'm going to root for the Wildcats. I'm going to wear a little purple here and there, because I know there are two things you like that wear purple. Northwestern and Prince. So it's going to be some purple rain against Illinois, 25-20.
Oh, Curb. Made me happy. I love you, Kirby.
I love you too, as long as two things happen. You keep filling the bowl, and you let me finish watching Queer as Folk, please.
Love you too, Curb. Glad to have Kirby the cat. And coming down to this home stretch, and we had Jaclyn Moore here in our forum. This is a big deal. Showrunner, Dear White People, the revival of Queer as Folk. What's next for you?
So what's next is right before the strikes, I was working on and writing and producing the second season of the Nicole Kidman show, 9 Perfect Strangers. So what's next is some weird, twisty, thrillery stuff taking place in the mountains of Germany, which should hopefully get filmed sometime. I don't know. All the scripts are done, so hopefully that'll get filmed sometime early next year. And then I have a show that I'm writing right now and a movie that I'm writing right now. And the show has been bought by somebody, so I'm getting paid for it. That's great. And hopefully that means somebody will see it eventually. The movie has not yet been bought by somebody, so hopefully I sell it so I get paid for it and then somebody can see it. Yeah, and otherwise I'm just trying to stay sane out in Los Angeles and lots of, in a place where it's sunny and 75 every day, it's great, but then you start to go insane because you don't know.
You're in the glitter machine. It's LA, it's Hollywood. And you're making the moves, you're moving and shaking, you're writing all the shows, you're doing the things you want to do. How has your transition affected all this? And in turn, how has the transition affected what you do and how you do it?
Oh, it's affected it a lot. Before I transitioned, I was often treated as, even before I had like much experience in the industry, I feel like I was often treated as sort of like a boy genius in a whole bunch of ways, where people were like, "Oh my God, you're so smart, you're so brilliant, like, oh, I love all your ideas. Oh my God." And in fact, like there was one show that I sold with Justin Simeon, who did Dear White People, who I did Dear White People with. We sold a show to Apple years ago. And when we were pitching it, at the time I had not showrun anything. I had worked on a couple shows, but I was still pretty new. And one of the agents that was covering our pitch, who was like helping represent the pitch, was there for a practice pitch and was like, "Oh my God, it's brilliant. No notes. Like, you're great. This is so, like, they'd be dumb not to buy this, blah, 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 blah." And then about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I'm now like, I've been out for a while as a trans woman, but I've also like showrun multiple shows to like some acclaim. I've won awards. I've sold like 10 shows over the years. Like, I'm pretty accomplished and like actually know what I'm doing. Like, where old me was maybe faking it till I made it. Like, I don't really have to fake it anymore. I actually know what I'm talking about. And the same agent was representing a different pitch that I was brought in to fix. And because there were some problems with it coming together. And I changed a bunch of stuff about it. And he came in and heard the pitch and was just like, "Jaclyn, I just don't think you really understand the marketplace. And I don't think you really get how this all works. And I just don't." And I was like, "Well, I've sold," he's like, "It's a really tough market right now," which it was, but I had sold 3 shows that year already. And so I was like, it's a tough market, but I've like sold 3 shows so far this year. Like, I feel like I know what I'm talking about. What I say, like, this change change to this pitch is actually going to be like what sells it. And he was like, well, I know you've had some luck lately, but I just don't think it's you really get what you're talking about. And I was like, so I just ignored him and we did it the way I said and we sold it. And but it was like the most like, oh, it was this moment of, oh my God, you see me as a woman. Oh my God, this is how you treat women. And it's this like weird, like, I'm so mad at you and also gender affirmed, but also I'm mad that that's gender affirming. It really was.
How do you reconcile that? How do you work with that?
Oh my God. I'm so glad you're talking about this. The sexism in the entertainment industry where they're like, you're a woman, you can't know what you're talking about.
Yes, and it's I mean, it's so weird because there is part of me. It's like, wow, these are people who like knew me and worked with me before I transitioned, and so on some level, I'm like, oh my God, it's great that like you truly are perceiving me the way I want to be perceived, except you perceive women in a super fucked up way, and I don't know how to process that. It's been tough. I mean, look, I have to work a lot harder than I used to have to work. I have to hustle a lot more. And it's not that I didn't work hard or didn't hustle before. I did. And I think it led me to be sort of wildly prolific before I transitioned because like the hustle and the work ethic and all of those things that I was doing, like was paired with male privilege and paired with like when I speak with confidence. I still speak with confidence. It's just before, it's like that old like I don't know where it originally comes from, but I think of it always as like a very Jezebel era feminism nonsense of like God grant me the confidence of a mediocre white man, which of course is like a good burn on mediocre white men, but it's also like really good advice about how to move through the world is like act as like look at how mediocre white men act and act that way. And even though people will not receive you like a mediocre white man, like if you behave in those ways and sort of just like act like you know more than you do, say yes to jobs you're not qualified for and figure it out later. Like if you do all those things, like there is a correlation between like higher success and doing those things. The only difference is, of course, like doing them as a woman and doing them, especially like, I would say as a trans woman, certainly even more so as a woman of color, like your reaction you're going to get is diminishing from what the mediocre white man gets, but that is the currency they respond to. That's what like successful looks like to them.
Do you see at Shar Sports 1, we do our homework. At the Shar Network, we do our homework. We know we know two things that you are dang good at.
You can hear that listening to an audiobook in the background, which is like so insane.
You got an audiobook going and you're hitting and you're just
it's that like, little fadeaway hop to the right that I really like when that like with that
very.
Do you know what's funny is like for my OnlyFans stuff, there's like a version of this video that goes a little longer where I flash my tits, and
I love that.
It did bigger numbers than almost any of my other stuff. Was just me playing basketball and then shooting and then showing my boobs.
Well, first thing you got
that little shimmy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the little shimmy going. Yeah, we're gonna roll this thing in the loop again. Because we need to see all this Elena Deladon you are serving.
Well, I was gonna say you have kind of like a almost Kendrick Perkins-y
How dare you?
Or no, not Kendrick Perkins. I'm thinking of the center for the Supersonics, who had a very flat-footed shot.
Sean Kemp?
Sean Kemp?
No, not Sean Kemp.
Oh,
because he was the power forward in Detlef Schrempf.
Yeah.
No, actually, there's a little bit of Jack Sickman in this game right here. Just a little bit.
A little bit of who?
Just a little bit of Jack Sickman in that game right there.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, I am a little flat-footed. I don't have my jump shot does not. My vertical leaves a lot to be desired.
I mean, there's also I say also a faint hint of like miniature Rick Smiths in there too, just a little bit.
I'll take it.
But I'm also thinking.
I'll take it.
I'm also thinking there's some.
I'm cuter than everybody we've mentioned. I just want to say that, like, for the record.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
and Elena Deladon is a close race.
Oh, Elena Deladonna, no, but
Hey,
Rick
I
Smith.
mentioned her.
Sam Perkins. That's what I was trying to.
Sam Perkins.
I'll take Sam Perkins over Kendrick Perkins any day.
Yes, but that was why I said, I was like, wait, no, it's not Kendrick. It was Sam Perkins because he was the like stretch big with just a very like, flat footy.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
I can see you're getting you're getting your work in. You're getting your work.
It's really fucking impressive. Like,
absolutely.
Thank you. Every day. It's I go to the gym in the morning and then I write, and then my writing routine at this point is I write outside. I have a little table, and then if you can kind of see in that video, there's like a fence to the right of the basketball hoop,
right?
And I go and shoot until inevitably I miss and the ball rebounds over the fence, and then I have to wait until my neighbor Luce like eventually goes outside to do something and throws the ball back, and so that's the sign that I have to go sit down and write again. Is the ball? I've lost my ball. So I get to feel like I'm in the sandlot, like trying to figure out what to deal with Hercules every once in a while.
So since you have really kicked things up to the next level, the last call, couple minutes, riff on whatever you want. You go first.
Ooh, okay. I want to shout out Orville Peck because he's a gay country singer who it's very performative. He used to be in a punk band and then created this character of Orville Peck. He's great. His music's very good. But last week, me and my partner went to his annual rodeo, which was a 3-day like gay country music festival in Joshua Tree at Pioneer Town, outside Joshua Tree at Pappy and Harriet's, which is if you haven't been, highly recommend. Joshua Tree is the best. Pappy and Harriet's is amazing. Pioneer Town's weird. It's this old town they built in up near the national park to shoot old westerns in the 40s, and so it still looks like an old west town. And it was I'm so grateful to him. I like his music a lot. He's really great and cool and just like good vibes. But for creating this space where like I grew up around my mom was a big country music fan, and like so around country music, and obviously like as a queer person, and as a trans person, country music is like a culture and stuff that is like full of thorns and just like bad experiences for both of those groups. And being in a space with like hundreds of other people dressed like cowboys, but like dressed like incredibly, just like so many gay people singing along to country music, and like Trixie Mattel doing like bad, like not bad, like very funny shtick, like introducing acts and stuff, and like just it was just like so cathartic to be around a bunch of queer people and like country music aesthetics and whatever. I highly recommend if you can go to an Orville Peck show wherever he tours. If you're a gay person, even slightly interested in any kind of country, even if you're not, there's something about being around queer people and a culture that is usually very exclusionary to queer people that is so celebratory that just feels really magical, and I highly recommend.
Well, Shauna, how about you? You got the mic. What's your last call?
So for my last call, I kind of wanted to focus on. So I had obviously, like, I started off talking about how I played dodgeball at the Foam Dodgeball Championship in Dallas, Texas this past weekend. I had a really great experience, but I think something that really stood with me after thinking about, obviously, as Texas is one of those states that's really working hard to keep people like me out of sports and out of women's sports. I honestly had a really great experience with a teammate. This is someone that I, knew but didn't know like very well. It was my first time playing with her, and she was just kind of having like, she wasn't like starting to get down on herself, right? She was just kind of not having like, wasn't doing the best that she was feeling she could do, and was just kind of getting down. And so I was like, hey, and I just kind of wanted to like, I saw that, and I was like, I always try and be a good and supportive teammate and try and like lift others up and help, everyone, because we've all been there. We've all had a rough day, on the court and in our work and everything. And I was like, just, just keep your head up. Even if your shots aren't falling, there's always ways you can impact the game, which is so true. Like all of like going for loose balls, blocking, watching out for your teammates, all those little things. And I was like, hey, just, don't remember, like there's a lot of ways that you can contribute to being, winning dodgeball. And sure enough, like she had a great, like actually like when we got to the tournament part, she did awesome. Like so many catches. It was so good. And like it felt really good because she actually came up to me afterwards, like, hey, you saying that really meant a lot to me. And I think it's kind of like I debated talking about this because like I didn't want to like sensationalize it, but honestly I was on my ride home and I was thinking, God, like, there's this worry about like treating us as these interlopers and as these like people going in, and I just love my sport and want to support the people in it and grow my community, and I'm very fortunate to try and put that positive energy in, and it felt really good to have that kind of impact and bring that sort of positive energy to those around me. And I think that does mean like a lot to me as a trans woman in sport to get to have that kind of, I think those like all that, like everyone's talks about the on-court results, the strength, all of the lung capacity, but sports is about community. It's about the people. And that's what's most important. And I thought it was really cool that I got to, both to really kind of help and be that positive influence in a sport that I truly love. What about you, Chelsea? Do you have your last call?
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about how strange it is to be in, like, I just got nominated for another AVN last week, and it's so strange being in this world where being trans isn't this defining thing important anymore. Where when I went in, it was so transphobic. Like, the first award show I went to was called the Tranny Awards. You can kind of get the vibe, very offensive, all that stuff. But it's so weird to be in one of the only places in the world now where trans people can exist and be nominated and even win against cis people and there not be this gigantic outrage anymore. And it's just so strange to be part of this world and see literally every other point in life trans people are being attacked, whether it's like sports, whether it's a trans singer winning a award, like how people were like, well, Kim Petras can't win a female award because she's trans, or like chess or pool or whatever other bullshit that's coming up. It's just like such a weird thing to be in this one field where it doesn't really matter anymore. And as I was kind of saying before, I think it was so much falls back to like regular sexism where they're like, oh, if it's a young trans woman who fits our idea of what conventional like Western beauty standards are, we're gonna respect you and treat you differently. And it's just like such a weird thing to kind of grapple with. I've definitely went to a Twitter thread about it earlier this week. And it's just like, in one way, it's great because it feels like liberating from all the systematic transphobia, but it also makes you feel like I can't really look to anyone else and be like, oh, I can see other trans people who've been doing this for this period of time or had these similar experiences, and it can definitely feel isolating and almost a guilt of, if it wasn't this time, I wouldn't be having these same opportunities, and thinking about all the past generations of trans women in the entertainment industry and particularly sex work who just truly didn't have those opportunities. Even though AVN's so inclusive now, the mainstream porn world didn't even recognize trans porn being part of it until 2004. So it's just so relatively modern. And yeah, it's just something I'm trying to grapple with because obviously every week we talk so much about all the awful shit that's happening everywhere else. And it's so weird being in this one industry that is now this like oasis in the desert of transphobia.
My last call comes from something that happened that I'm rather grateful for, especially in this week as we head into the holiday season. I did a story that ran Wednesday morning on a swimmer at Division III Ramapo College named Megan Cortez Fields. Now, Megan Cortez Fields is a senior swimmer from College Station, Texas. She's a little bit of ways from home, going to school in New Jersey. Well, this past weekend, she was at a meet called the Cougar Splash. It was sponsored by conference rival Misericordia University in Pennsylvania. And she had a pretty busy weekend. She was a part of 5 relay teams that scored. She finished second in one event, won the 200 individual medley, and in the 100-yard butterfly, she took the lead early and just grabbed the race by the throat and ended up winning in 57.22 seconds. Now, that is a Ramapo College record. But not only that, she is the first transgender woman student athlete in NCAA swimming to score points since a certain person that a lot of people talk about and some still revile named Leah Thomas back at the Division I National Championships in 2022. And as expected, the usual suspects jumped on this kid. The Twitter and Instagram boo birds. Riley Gaines ran her mouth. America's spoil sport at it again. The people from Icons, or as we like to call them, Karens against women's sports, they had something to say. And things got so bad that when the college's athletic program put up a congratulatory post on their Instagram, so many negative comments came in that they took it down. And I'm looking at all this and writing a story, and I'm thinking, like, here we go again. I do what I do as a journalist. Write the facts. Write what happened. I'll admit, I try and get a little editorial dig in on people like Riley Gaines. And I ended up filing the story, and that was the end of it. But I got a note on my story later on in the day, or more so, both of the co-founders of Outsports got this email. Sid Ziegler got it, Jim Budzinski got it, and our new managing editor, John Holmes. The college's public relations person, Brittany Williams-Goldstein, wrote this. This is not a tip. It's rather a thank you to reporter Karleigh Webb for her inclusive reporting of Ramapo swimmer Megan Cortez Fields. As spokesperson for Ramapo College, the story posted by Karleigh Webb is appreciated. Most of the coverage of our swimmer and team have received has been biased and ill-informed and has not reflected or included the college's statements or contributions. Thank you for taking the time to report this story with facts, empathy, and integrity.
That's so lovely.
That's so special.
Goldstein, thank you. But as much as I feel good about that, the mere fact that a note like this reached me gives me pause. And it gives me pause because this is what journalists are supposed to do. This is what our business is supposed to do. But this is for journalists like myself, and there are many of us who take our craft seriously. This should be the norm, not an exception. We know what's happening in this small sliver of space that we call sports. The same way we know what's happening, whether it's coverage of this ridiculous anti-trans legislation, whether it's the coverage of certain people from a certain political party. But the question is, why aren't those of us who are committed to our craft and committed to getting it right not doing the job and holding people's feet to the fire for the things we know, against the things we know are wrong? For those of us who work at Outsports, we go around the tree at this all the time. And there's a point to be made to not give so much of the microphone to the boo birds and the naysayers and the transphobes. I agree with that. But there comes a time when you have to stand up and be counted. And we are living in those times right now. So, to Ms. Goldstein, Ms. Williams-Goldstein, and many people who are like her, I appreciate the thanks. But when it comes down to it, I'm just doing my job. I'm doing the job in the profession I'm proud to be a part of. My honor, my integrity, and the education I got at the Medill School of Journalism at Northwestern University would demand nothing less. And I want to send a little message to Megan Cortez Fields. Megan, thank you. Thank you for pushing through and persevering. Even as you did while working through your transition, you continued to compete on the men's team with integrity, with honor, and you spoke out. And I'm happy that you're getting this chance to compete authentically this season. And I hope that you have a great season. I hope that you swim even faster. And I hope to see you in Greensboro, North Carolina in March at the NCAA Division III National Championships. You've been quoted as saying that you see Leah Thomas as an inspiration. I would be proud to be poolside to watch you do what Leah Thomas did. And I know reporters aren't supposed to root, but in my heart, I'll be rooting for you. And that's the Gridiron Girls for this week. I want to send a special thank you and an acknowledgement to somebody who's getting it done, who's doing it. Jaclyn Moore, you're doing it. And trans woman to trans woman, I'm glad you're doing it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Yeah, I'm so great to have you on.
Anytime you want to come on, you come on, because that's what we're at. When it comes down to it, we talk about trans joy. And trans joy is seeing you put these shows out there. And a special thanks to all of you who download our show, watch our show, and check us out. And just to know, if there's something you want to see, someone you want to see, or something you want to say about what we're doing, please leave a message on the comments down here at YouTube. Go over to our Instagram page and
and Spotify now too.
And now Spotify. The audio versions of the podcast are now moving to Spotify. Thank you, Chelsea Poe, on that. And leave your note, but just a note, because we've been getting this again, and I'm here, and there's something I got to tell the transphobes real quick. Understand something. I don't spar, I just block. And baby, I block like the Kembe. So if you're bringing transphobia to our door, don't. Just don't. And that's the Gridiron Girls for this week. A lot of great football is going to be happening. Enjoy it. And whether your family's blood or your family's chosen, if you're around that table on Thanksgiving, live, laugh, eat, love. I'm Karleigh-Chelsea-Shauna.
I'm Chelsea Poe.
I'm Shauna Atkinson.
I'm Jaclyn Moore.
And that's the Gridiron Girls for this week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Free Jim Harbaugh. Go Blue.
And go Wildcats. I want to see you at the Pinstripe Bowl. So long, everybody. We'll see you next week.